welcome to What the Hype. And this week, it's our final episode of the year, and we're looking back at what we were most hyped about in 2024 and looking ahead to 2025. And appropriately enough, we have the full panel here today. Hello, everyone.
Hello. Hi.
Hey.
And the goal with at least the first half of today's episode is to talk about things that we have not discussed on What the Hype. And everybody threw in 2 or 3 items today. It might be a book, a show, a movie, a game, etc. And of course, we're also skewing towards things that were actually released in 2024 to really look back on the year itself in terms of pop culture releases. Who wants to go first? Not me.
Well, one thing that counts as 2024, and in fact, I have plans to witness it in all of its glory tomorrow, in fact, is the new Sonic the Hedgehog movie, which I have not yet talked about my love for this new-ish franchise. It's got James Marsden in it and Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik. I love this series. Growing up playing the games in the 90s, of course, Sonic the Hedgehog, big fan, and the movies get the character and the world right.
Eric, you already broke my rule, though. I said something you needed that came out this year. You haven't seen it yet?
It came out this year.
Yeah, it's coming out this weekend.
It's coming out tomorrow. I have
okay. Well,
not even midnight tickets. I have 10 p.m. tickets tomorrow.
Wow,
I'm literally first in line. No,
I'm just going to say, technically, by the time this episode comes out,
there you go.
It will have been already released.
I got in on a technicality. I'm here from the future to tell you all that this movie was great, just like the first 2. No, in the throes of COVID, at the very beginning of the pandemic, the first movie was in theaters. And I managed to see it just before then. And ever since then, it just feels like time is condensed and it's like accordioning in and out. And the only thing to rely on is a new Sonic movie to pull time forward.
Well, I've heard good things about the Sonic movie series, and also the Knuckles spinoff apparently is really good too.
I was going to ask, have you seen that, Eric?
I have not seen this. So I think it's a series on Disney, right?
That came out this year. No, it's on Paramount.
It's Paramount. It's so good.
I've seen Sonic 1 and 2. Really love them. They're definitely one of my favorite franchises right now. Sonic is one of my favorite franchises right now, and I'm very much looking forward to 3. I'll probably see it over the holidays.
Oh man, you really fought me on that, and yet you love the series. It's
no, I love Sonic. And then what's your other new release of 2024?
Well, so these ones I've seen, but we've done hype for it. The new release for 2024 that I'm hyped about, and maybe most hyped about, is this show. Does that count? Is that a crazy thing? We have been podcasting together for many, many, many years. Collectively, as a group, we have 100 years of podcasting under our belts. Let me tell you, we talked about the possibility of starting a new show. Other new shows have kind of started, but the fact that we're all in this one together, that I get to co-host with Pam, that we're all together doing this show about pop culture, about what gets us hyped in the year 2024. Sorry, this takes the cake.
I agree. No, it's funny because I remember this time a year ago, we were actually deep in planning for this, and we knew that June was going to be our target date. And so it's crazy thinking back on a year ago and how deep we were in concepts of a plan,
Concepts of a plan.
But see, we actually made a plan.
That actually evolved into actionable and
concepts.
executable. Yeah.
But truly, I would challenge anyone who likes the Sonic movies. If you have not seen the Knuckles series, please watch it over the winter holidays. It is delightful, and it has no business being as good as it is.
I got to give it another shot because I tried episode 1 and I wasn't really feeling it. And like I said, I like the Sonic movies.
You got to give it a couple episodes. You got to let it warm up. But
well, and there's a lot in the plot that harkens back to the original games. Knuckles originally being a bad guy hired by Robotnik. That the films loosely follow some of those old game plots that were written 30 years ago.
All right, Pam, how about you? What did you enjoy this year?
So I have a couple of TV things, and then I have a music shout out. So my first TV thing is The Artful Dodger, which also just got renewed for season 2. So if you were like if you're somebody that just likes to wait to see if a show is going to go forward with more episodes, this is a good time to binge this over the holiday. I binged this at the start of last year, and depending on what region of the world you live in, it either came out late 2023 or early 2024. So you can catch it on Disney Plus or on Hulu right now if you live in the United States. This is a sequel to Charles Dickens' Oliver Twist, and it stars Thomas Brody Sangster as Dodger, but he's going by the name Jack, and he's all grown up now, and he's kind of like built a new life for himself as a Royal Navy surgeon. And he ends up being lured back into a life of crime and heists as a result of Fagin returning and just jumping back into his life. Oh. And Fagin is played by David Thewlis, who we'll all know from Harry Potter. And yeah, this is just so much fun. It's a historical piece. There's comedy, there's drama. There's, like I said, heist involves. There's a little bit of romance because Jack ends up falling in love with the governor's daughter, which, you know, gives it like a little bit more of like that Pirates of the Caribbean feel as well. But yeah, this was just such a fun binge. So if you're just looking for a really quick watch and you like stuff like that, I would highly recommend The Artful Dodger.
I'm so
excited that it's coming out with more episodes. And then the second TV show I wanted to give a shout out to, which I know a couple of us on this panel watched, was Nobody Wants This on Netflix. This was so delightful. Kristen Bell and Adam Brody star in this, so it's like a millennial's dream.
Oh,
and yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know, they strike up a romance, but the plot twist is that she's like a very outspoken agnostic podcast host, and he's a rabbi with a conservative family. So nobody wants this, meaning like nobody in their respective lives wants them to be together, but they persevere anyway. So yeah, it's absolutely delightful. So much fun. Again, another really easy binge, and probably a good one for the holidays because, like, you know, it's like light watching, but it's great.
Yeah, the episodes are like what,
30 minutes?
Yeah, 30 minutes tops.
Wow.
Like, it's quick. But yeah, the
Kristen
chemistry.
Bell will not make a show over 25 minutes per episode. She won't do it.
It's in her contract.
Yeah.
It was one of those shows you couldn't avoid when it came out because so many people were talking about it, and it definitely went viral on Netflix. It was sitting in the top 10, probably in the top for a while. It was one of those shows I was like, well, there's too much talk about this, so I have to watch it. And yeah, it was great. It was a feel-good rom-com, genuinely funny too. And it has been renewed for season 2. So we have that to look forward to at some point.
Yeah, I can't wait.
And then I just wanted to give a general shout out to female artists because there were so many good music releases. I really couldn't pick just one. But I think my top 3 for the year were obviously Taylor's Tortured Poets, and then Beyonce's Cowboy Carter, and also Maggie Rogers' Don't Forget Me, which is really great. If you're not on the Maggie Rogers train yet, I highly recommend you check her out. She's just a really great singer-songwriter, and she kind of is like leaning more towards like folksy pop. But yeah, like so many good albums by women this year, and we just love to see it. It's a good year for music.
Micah, you got some sports picks for us.
I do. And really video games. That's what I was going for here. We haven't done a What the Hype on video games in general or specific releases. And that's something I'm hoping we're going to do in 2025. And 2 of the games that really stood out to me, and I actually purchased them more recently. One was WWE 2K24. It's kind of a throwback to childhood. A lot of nostalgia. I bought the 40 Years of WrestleMania edition. I'm not sure who grew up watching WWF. I feel like Laura, no, Pam, I know you both have brothers.
It was
Really?
It was inescapable. Really, my neighbors, my next door neighbors, 2 boys, Scotty and Nikki, had like all the action figures that were like current. And
I was going to say I have 3 brothers, so it was like in the periphery for sure, but not really my cup of tea.
But what is cool about the 40 Years of WrestleMania edition is that you're basically taken on a journey and given the quest of participating in some of the more iconic WrestleMania matches. So everybody, I think, can probably picture in their mind Hulk Hogan body slamming Andre the Giant. Like those moments are what you are tasked with, and you literally have to go through 40 years of those matches. There's the regular game, which you can play as well. You can create your own character. You can do all types of crazy matches, but it was just fun, to kind of go back in time a little bit and play as your favorite wrestler or wrestlers while you were growing up.
What system are you playing this game on, and the game you're about to share?
PS5.
Just out of curiosity. Okay.
Yeah. And the next one actually is another bit of nostalgia. It's EA Sports College Football 25. And this is the first college football game that has been released since 2013. So we're talking about 11 years. A lot of issues came up around name, image, and likeness about 10 or so years ago because the players weren't being essentially compensated for their use in the game. Now, their names weren't used, but clearly their image and their likeness were. With all the changes that have happened in the college landscape over the course of the last couple of years, they finally were able to release a new game. And this is the first game that actually has player names in it on every single team. So when I say nostalgic, this was a throwback too, because we used to play this in college all the time. And what I love about it is obviously you can pick any school you want. I obviously picked Syracuse and, you can be much better than your team actually is in real life. So there's always that aspirational element of it.
The game doesn't go, this could never happen in real life.
You might have to restart the game every once in a while, get a little frustrated, break a controller or two. But it's...
Well, and speaking of nostalgia, Micah, I'm sure that's part of it for you, being able to play your college football team.
Yeah.
You're still very loyal to Syracuse.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's something that I honestly forgot how much fun it is to play those types of games. And so that's why I really do hope that we do a show on video games or multiple show on video games.
I know that we will.
In the new year.
College football is huge. This was kind of news to me over the last year. I didn't realize how many people are so passionate about college football.
Oh, yeah.
People who have graduated are still tuning into their games every Saturday. Yeah. I love the passion. I think it's great. It's just
especially because a lot of people, like the college team is the home team. Like LA obviously has their own team now, but most people I know that are LA natives are either like UCLA fans or USC fans. And that's like the way they enjoy football every season. So,
yeah.
But video game wise, it was a big year of that for me as well. Lego Horizon Adventures is a game, Lego version of the Horizon Zero Dawn series. Pretty fun. And then Life is Strange Double Exposure is a sequel to the original Life is Strange game with Max and Chloe. So although Chloe's not in this one, Max is. Just as a shout out, like I log in, I see Micah's been playing WWE, and I put in my Life is Strange, and it's been a good fall for video games.
Funny story though, I was told that I needed to change my PS5 profile icon.
What was it? It was a weird bird.
Meg didn't like the bird.
It was kind of freaking her out. It was giving Uncanny Valley. And when we asked you about it, it was a weird thing. It was as a joke. I sent Micah a text going, hey, your PS5 avatar is kind of giving us the willies. Would you mind explaining who or what it is? Is it a beloved character? And Micah was like, no, I think the system just assigned this to me. She has no emotional connection to it at all whatsoever. So I'm like, hey, can you change that? But
if somebody said that to me, I would just unfriend them on PlayStation.
I know.
You're telling me what profile picture to use?
It is a miracle that Mike and I are still friends. Wait, we're still friends, right?
We are. And I did change it to a very retro looking Dumbledore. So that is now my profile icon.
I don't like that, Micah. It disturbs me. Can you change that?
See how much clout you have. Well, Micah did it for Meg. He didn't do it for me.
Yeah, that is true. But my name, though, Eric really did enjoy. Dobby's Real Dad is my
Dobby's Real Dad
username.
So everybody send your PSN friend requests to Dobby's Real Dad.
Can I also just give a very quick shout out to Slow Horses? I know that we've maybe brought this up briefly at times. I feel like we've discussed this recently, but I can't remember where. But the 4th season of this show came out, and It's just a really great spy thriller with Gary Oldman at the center of it. And where did we just talk about this? Was this on during our
Slug Club? Yeah.
No, okay. I brought it up on the Slug Club, but I think you were emphatically enthusiastic about it somewhere previous to that.
Because last night you were kind of
original?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like we were talking Apple originals, and maybe it also came.
Yeah. I have a few friends who are watching it too, and they all say good things.
I feel like everyone on this panel would very much enjoy it, as would our listeners.
Man, a new David Thewlis show, a new Gary Oldman show. What year is it? These guys are iconic in their roles.
Laura, how about you? What were you hyped about this year?
I was really hyped about Arcane season 2. And
so good.
Have you finished it, Pam?
No, I'm like halfway through, but I really liked season 1 too.
Okay, yes. And so I'm so glad, because I knew at least you had seen season 1. So I'm so glad we can talk about this to give like a little bit of a spoiler-free primer here. Arcane is a story that takes place in the League of Legends universe. However, you don't need to know anything about the video game League of Legends. You don't need to have played it. You can come into this series completely blind to the fact that League of Legends is even a game that exists in the world, because the story is so good and stands on its own. They're not just copy and pasting the story from the game, although they do, from what I understand, include a lot of elements and like general themes from the game. But it essentially focuses on sisters Vi and Jinx, as she becomes known pretty early in the first series. And they're existing in a really troubled society. There's this rich utopian city called Piltover, which of course has a seedy, oppressed underbelly called Zon. And Vi and Powder, as she is formerly known, later known as Jinx, kind of find themselves embroiled in a developing conflict over, clashes of conviction between the utopian city of Piltover and the underbelly of Zon, as well as what are described as arcane technologies, hence the name of the show. So there's a lot of political and civil unrest. There's also a lot of ethics around science and what is and isn't okay to like test or push on people against their will. It is so good. You should watch it. It's also just beautifully animated. Oh my God.
Gonna say that. Yeah, I love the style of this show. And to your point about not needing to have any background for the video game series, I know League of Legends is very popular. I had no idea that this was based off a video game until I was asking my brother if he was watching it. And he's like, that's like based off of a video game, League of Legends. And I was like, oh, I had no idea. So it is really easy to follow and super compelling from the get-go. Like it just really hooks you in right away, and you really feel for these characters. They're so beautifully fleshed out.
Yeah. And they're complicated too. Like, of course, there are characters who are, they're not ambiguous. They're either good or bad. But there are a lot of characters that are way more complicated and come in way more shades of gray than just being good or bad, which is part of what makes the show so compelling.
This is another show that I see getting a lot of attention, and I've gotten close to actually watching. What's your other pick for the year?
My other one is an anime, actually, called Dandadan. And see, what's so funny about Arcane and Dandadan, I knew nothing about these things walking into them. So I was very pleasantly surprised to walk into something with zero context and to end up walking away from it being obsessed with it. So Dandadan is about a couple of high school students who are, I guess we would call them like very invested in the supernatural. One of them believes in ghosts and the other believes in aliens, but they each don't believe in each other's supernatural being.
Oh my God.
And in the first episode, they basically make a bet with each other. And they're like, okay, well, you go to this haunted place where I know there's a ghost alien boy, and you tell me that they're not real. And he says the same to the girl because she doesn't believe in aliens. Well, they both end up encountering these beings in these spaces where they go. The aliens unlock, and this is all very early episode 1 stuff, so we're not in spoiler territory really, but the aliens end up unlocking the girl character, Momo is her name. They end up accidentally unlocking psychic powers for her. And the boy character, Okarun, he ends up with some additional abilities by virtue of his encounter with a ghost in that first episode. And it basically follows all of their various adventures from there, episode to episode. And it is so good. This show like runs the emotional spectrum, because I'm going to tell you, for the first 5 or 6 episodes, I was like, this show is just a riot. It's weird as hell. It's unapologetically Japanese. It loves what it's doing, and they're just having fun. And then they dropped an episode that had me like sobbing at the end. I was like, I can't believe they took me from thinking that I'm watching one of the funniest things I've seen in a while to now feeling like I'm having my heart ripped out of my chest.
Oh my God.
By the time this episode of What the Hype comes out, Dandadan's first season will be wrapped. The finale actually comes out on my birthday, so that's going to be part of what I do. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's really good, though. I highly recommend it.
Cool.
It's the mark of a good show that it can pull you in those emotional directions.
So my 2 picks of the year, first of all, the game Balatro, and I've mentioned this on Millennial once or twice at this point. This is a poker-themed deck-building game by an indie developer. It was released earlier this year. It's available on virtually all modern platforms, including iOS and Android. Basically, what happens is before each round, you can open up new packs of cards to enhance your gameplay, and you aim for a certain number of points each round, and the number of points you have to get each round increases, so it gets more and more difficult. And the best part of this game to me is how you use dozens of different jokers to level up your scoring and gameplay. And what I also love about Balatro is just the unique graphics and sounds. It's all just like eye and sound candy. And it did win Indie Game of the Year last week at the Game Awards. It's addictive. Laura, I know you've played it too, right?
Oh my gosh, this game definitely had me by the throat at multiple times throughout the year, where it was like the only thing I was doing sort of passively if I had downtime. If I was like, I have 15 minutes between meetings and I need to take a quick break, or if I didn't have any specific plans for the afternoon, I would find myself going down the rabbit hole of this game, because the way it's structured is you just play until you lose.
Yeah. And you can lose pretty spectacularly, and then you want to throw your controller across the room.
Well, it's good you mentioned throwing the controller. I wanted to ask, what system should I get this for? I see it's on Steam. I see it's on PlayStation. But is the Switch version going to be?
No, it's all the same. Something portable I would recommend it on.
Yeah,
so maybe on the phone or Switch. I have it on the Switch. I also have it on the phone, but I can't sync my data, so I don't play it on the phone. Once you can sync data, and hopefully that is coming at some point, I will be playing it a lot more. But yeah, highly recommend. It's even if you're not into poker, like I'm not really into poker, but this game was recommended to me by my brother, and I just, couldn't get enough. But I also want to say that I was really hyped about a TV show this year. It's called English Teacher. This was a new comedy series that premiered on FX, starring Brian Jordan Alvarez, and the actor, is gay and plays an openly gay English teacher at a high school in Austin, Texas. It is funny. It is fast-paced comedy, too. It's one of those shows that just gets me laughing out loud a lot. It got a lot of recognition when it premiered. It was just refreshing to have this great new comedy series, and an openly gay character was a perk, too. Now, that said, we actually just learned this week that we now have to cancel Brian because there were new and serious sexual allegations against him. Brian, for the record, has denied the allegations, but it's like, damn it, can I enjoy anything without
that's too bad. I was just going to ask you if you've seen him popping off on TikTok, because he was going viral for the "I love your daughter" trend.
Oh, I didn't see that.
You guys have seen that? Yeah, it's like, it's the trend is actually based off of a Gilmore Girls moment where Kirk is like, "I love your daughter," and then the dad's like, "What do you have to offer her?" He's like, "Nothing, only this." And he does this weird dance, and so on TikTok, that's been going viral, and he's been promoting the show by going viral dancing to this.
Oh, well,
sound.
He might have to dance a little harder because people are canceling him now.
Out of those,
that's probably why he's still dancing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was really enjoying this as well. I haven't, I'm not fully caught up, but that's too bad to hear that he's embroiled in some controversy, because you're right. It sucks when we can't have nice things.
Yeah. At 30-minute episodes, 8 episodes, so very easy to binge. I'd still recommend checking it out. We'll see if this is going to put a wrench in future seasons. All right, well, we're going to take a break, and then when we come back, we're going to discuss what we're hyped for in 2025. So we'll be right back. So I'll get things started this time. I got a couple of things I'm excited for in 2025. Lady Gaga's forthcoming album is coming out in February. She released the lead single from it already, called Disease. It was very good, very refreshing compared to what we've seen from Gaga recently. More of like a grunge rock type of vibe. Pam, our music girly, did you have any thoughts on Disease?
I think you hit the nail on the head. It's really cool to see her reinventing herself too. I know she's been busy. She also put out a concept album for the Joker and Harley Quinn movie that she did.
Yeah,
so
that was okay.
Yeah, I think it was okay too. But I'm excited to see her go back to her own original stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this as well.
Yeah. Also, The White Lotus season 3 comes out on Max in February. The first 2 seasons were great. I actually thought season 2 was better than season 1. I know, Micah, you love it too.
Yeah, it's a really entertaining show.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting to see Jason Isaacs.
I know, right?
On the show, given, there are no boundaries for White Lotus. Let's just say.
Do you think they'll have him shit in a suitcase?
Do you think he'll have him having gay sex? Because there's a lot of surprising moments in the show, I would say.
Everything I've learned about White Lotus has been from the internet. The concept for this
show is a show made
insane.
For social media.
Oh,
it's
is it accurate to say
horrible people?
But it's like a takedown of the upper class, right?
Yes.
Or no? Like a commentary on the... Okay.
Yeah, I think it's definitely one of HBO's most talked about series right now. It's one of those ones, it airs on Sunday nights when it's in season, and you'll get a lot of people talking about it.
And there are a lot of Survivor Easter eggs and former contestants that pop up in White Lotus, because Mike White was on David versus Goliath, I believe, and he is the lead producer of the show.
He created the show. I think he writes it. Yeah, maybe directs an episode or two too. We've mentioned video games a few times today. I'm very excited for the follow-up to Nintendo Switch. Apparently, we're going to be getting an announcement as early as January, which is really soon. There have been leaks left and right just in the last couple of days, which also implies the announcement's coming in January. And the release is supposed to be by spring. And of course, Nintendo, as they always do, no matter them or Sony or Microsoft, they release big titles with the system too. So hopefully we'll get a big new Mario game with the new Switch as well. We haven't gotten a new Mario entry, a major one, since Odyssey, which came out very early in the Switch 1's life.
Yeah, I played some of the other Mario games. I recently got through Luigi's Mansion 3. I was late to that.
That one was very good. Yeah.
Waiting for the next big Mario, to your point.
Yeah.
And that Switch was just such a good... Yeah.
The cleaning's very therapeutic. Yeah. There's a Luigi's Mansion arcade game. I played it a couple months ago. And you hold the vacuum and you're sucking up towards the screen.
You must have spent hours there.
This must have been great.
I also am excited for Grand Theft Auto 6, which is allegedly coming out in 2025. They did, Rockstar Games did say it's coming out in 2025, but with so many games these days, they get delayed. The last we heard was 2025. They said it in the first trailer. This might be the most anticipated game of all time, I think. It's been, over a decade since GTA 5 came out?
People are chomping at the bit.
That long-running joke is finally going to die.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't believe we got this before Grand Theft Auto 6.
It's essentially a return to Vice City, which is one of the most beloved games of the original PS trilogy. So very excited for that.
I've also heard game developers are holding off on announcing dates for their games because they don't want to be close to GTA 6, which is understandable.
Well, I know I'll lock myself in a room for a month and a half until I do everything in that game for sure. It's what I did for GTA 5. And GTA Online is an achievement in and of itself that came alongside GTA 5. They continue to still add new stuff to do. I've never seen a commitment like it.
Still so popular, yeah. I actually heard a stat the other day. The most popular online games are all games that have been out for around 10 years or so.
But it's due to that continued commitment to update. It's just absolutely unbelievable.
So that's my list. Micah, how about you?
So for me, put mostly TV shows in here. The second season of Wednesday. Has anybody seen Wednesday here?
Yeah, I loved
so
Wednesday.
good.
So good. Jenna Ortega starring in the lead role. And just her, for folks who aren't familiar, she goes to school at a place called Nevermore, and it really just chronicles her story there. It's a bit of solving some mystery going on, but it's basically an Addams Family spinoff. I would say that they recast a lot of the roles extremely well, and there's still a few more surprises, I think, to come in season 2, characters that we haven't seen. We did get some cameos in season 1, and I think we're looking forward to some more cameos in season 2 from what I've read. I won't spoil anything here. And then Stranger Things, the finale. We've been waiting for this for a long time.
Yeah.
I've been running up that hill.
Aren't those kids 30 now?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Definitely, I really was impressed by the most recent season and how the show continues to really reinvent itself. And you really love the characters at this point. So, yeah, we'll see. I just think it's a really well-made series.
Mm-hmm.
Justice for Barb.
Yeah, Justice
Still?
for Barb.
We'll see.
The episodes,
I'm holding out hope.
The episodes are very long in the most recent season, and I think
basically movie length, right? The last one.
And I was just going to say, apparently with this final season, it's going to be the same thing, maybe even longer. Don't quote me on that, but that's interesting.
That's a show I wish they would do weekly releases for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, instead of all at once.
Netflix, if you're listening, I will bite the bullet and pay more for you to do that.
For you to not dump it all at once, Pam?
Yeah.
To just
meaning I will extend my subscription.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Not
I'll pay more, but I will. Yeah.
That is a show people would spend time speculating on week to week and reviewing and discussing each episode. But when they dump a whole season at once, or maybe in 2 parts, they'll probably do it in 2 parts. Nobody knows what to talk about online because you don't know where your audience is caught up to.
Yeah.
So it's just messy.
And very quick honorable mention would go to Cobra Kai. Pam will definitely be doing another What the Hype on that in 2025 as that comes to a close. And I actually saw 2. There's a movie coming out. I had no idea. Karate Kid Legends. I saw a preview
with
for it
Jackie
yesterday.
Chan.
I really remember that being greenlit. Yeah.
Jackie Chan is Mr. Miyagi. Now, he played the role in a recent Karate Kid reboot, I think.
The one with Jaden Smith, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. My big thing for the beginning of 2025 is HBO's The Last of Us season 2, which I knew we'd get some excitement and buzz. Spring of 2025. We don't have a specific date yet. I'm waiting to see exactly how it is adapted. I have my preferences for how much of the Last of Us video game series they'll do, because with the TV show, they really managed to strike a really great balance between adaptation, staying true to the series, and being able to explore some areas that were not in the game or the focus of the game. I'm thinking, of course, of the Emmy award-winning episode where it was just about the two men. And
Bill and Frank.
And honestly, they could be doing more of that type of thing and not get to the big shock moment of Last of Us 2 until the end of season 2, and I'd be happy. I really love Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal as Joel and Ellie, and I want as much time with them as possible.
Remembers.
Yeah, it certainly does. So I will be your champion and be doing episodes upon episodes with Laura, of course, and anyone else who will join to be this show's champion in the new year. Very excited.
Yeah, I agree with you, Eric. I think they should split The Last of Us Part 2 into 2 seasons.
They could make it,
because there's so much.
Well, the game is nonlinear in many aspects. The sequel, The Last of Us 2. Who else has seen the first season of the show?
I have.
Yeah, it's good, right?
Mm-hmm. Really good.
And for an oversaturated market like zombie apocalypse dramas, you don't need to have a show that's this good. It's just
I think
really,
coming
really
off of Andrew and I were both really big Walking Dead fans for a while until like it started just really getting tiresome, and so like to come into something like The Last of Us, it's just so refreshing.
It's not the zombie show that you're expecting for anybody who hasn't seen it.
And I think that is that's not only a testament to obviously like the source material, but also I think Craig Mazin has been doing a fantastic job show running as well. Obviously he did a great job with Chernobyl, but
Chernobyl was
really
great.
killing it with The Last of Us.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly the point, is that The Last of Us isn't really about the zombies. Like that's the setting, but this is very much about The Last of Us, the people.
Yeah.
Seeing them lean into the character.
That is like, to me, like most zombie properties that are done right, it is like mostly about like, it's not about the scares, but like the human condition and like what happens when they're pushed to the brink, right?
Exactly.
Like the psyche. So
yeah, very excited about that coming and any news on that. In terms of like a real world event, Universal's Epic Universe theme park, the follow up to Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios down in Florida. I don't currently have any plans specifically. I don't know what month it's supposed to come out yet, but very excited for the new Nintendo Land. May.
Mm-hmm.
So this summer, book a trip down to Florida. Maybe we can all go have a special What the Hype live in Orlando and go ride the rides and punch some coin blocks.
Sounds fun, but I shudder to think how busy it's going to be in the first summer.
We got to apply for that
Check
press
in
badge,
with me on
Andrew.
fall.
Yeah.
Hello, we are press.
Let me rethink. I don't want to be in Orlando between
in the summer,
like June and September.
Anytime
November, outside
then.
that.
Next November, we will go. That's when the locals go, and it's much less populated.
That's when the locals go.
And I personally decided to sneak in a New Year's resolution of mine, particularly because we're doing this show and there will be more opportunities to talk about books. I have not been much of a reader this year. I really devoured a number of audiobooks, including nonfiction like biographies. I did 3 separate Beatles biographies in 2023, but this year I've taken a year off and I feel less like my brain is being challenged. And I'm really entering 2025 with a desire to really just read as much as possible, which for me, even if it's like 8 books throughout the year, I'll be very happy and feel accomplished for it.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for sure. I have books I go back to every year, but this time I have a slight TBR pile and I'm looking forward to it.
All right. So Pam and Laura are going to bring us home in our 2025 look ahead. But first, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
I'm crossing my fingers for Reputation Taylor's version to come out in 2025. I think we all thought we were going to get it this last year and we didn't. So 2025 is another opportunity for that to drop. And then my other answer to this question is Yellowjackets season 3, which comes out in February. This has just been such a fun show to keep up with. So it'll be the 3rd season. And it's just like there's a lot of good television out there if you poke around. This is a Showtime original, so it's a little harder for people to watch sometimes when they're on these premium cable channels, especially with cable cutting still being a big thing. But it's worth signing up for a Showtime subscription just to binge through this. This is told in like kind of 2 parts, so we flash back between 1996 and the present day. And in 1996, it focuses on what happens after a high school girls soccer team ends up crash landing in the wilderness. They're on their way to a soccer tournament when this plane crash happens. And so it's all about following how they survive in the wilderness. And it gets pretty creepy at times. And then in the present day, we're catching up with the survivors that are left over and seeing how they're still haunted by the events of what transpired in the woods in 1996. So this is a great show, especially if you like creepier, suspenseful stuff. You haven't seen this is so up your street.
I have not seen it. And to be honest, that sold me. But even if you hadn't given that wonderful description of it, you've never led me wrong, Pam. I feel like every time you recommend a show to me, you knock it out of the park. So
that's so nice.
Yeah, this will be something I do over the holiday break.
That's another one people lose their shit over.
Yeah, it's really cool too because they have all these like 90s icons playing the adult version of these girls. So like Christina Ricci's in it and Melanie Linsky and Tawny Cypress and stuff.
I like Melanie Linsky.
It's really cool to see, them like get their roses basically and they're acting their asses off, obviously. But like both versions of the cast are incredible. So it's really well done.
Laura, bring us home today.
So I'm very excited for Severance season 2 on Apple TV. That is coming in January. This is the series that is about people who had their work lives and their home lives mentally severed so that the version of themselves that is at work has no concept of what the version of themselves outside of work is doing and vice versa. And there are very nefarious reasons for that arrangement. The way that they left off season 1, I don't want to get into spoilers again, because like this is a show that is very fast paced and has a lot of surprises in it. I think it could be really easy to say too much and reveal kind of where the show goes. And I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but the cliffhanger they left it on has had me checking pretty frequently to see when this show is coming. Because it's been a few years since season 1.
Yeah, they've been taking their sweet time premiering season 2. And I too watched this show, Laura. I agree. It's fantastic. Very much looking forward to it. In fact, looking at our list today, a lot of stuff we've been talking about is coming in the first quarter of the year. Maybe we're focused on these just because we actually have release dates. We don't know when other stuff is coming out later in the year. But yeah, there's a lot to look forward to over the winter, it seems.
Yeah, I agree. I just think it's so funny that Apple really manages to nail the prototypical soul-sucking corporate office environment.
You can't look too deeply into that. There's really
they might have some experience with that.
No, not at all. But no, it is so well done. The other thing I'm looking forward to, it's a movie. Fantastic Four First Steps coming out in July.
Pedro Pascal.
Yes, Pedro Pascal, because he's incredible and needs to be in everything, apparently. But I'm so excited for him to be in this. Vanessa Kirby is in this as well. I forget the name of the...
Evan Moss from The Bear.
Yes. And I forget the other person too.
It's somebody bit. Oh, it's what's his face from Stranger
Things? Billy, right? No, not
what's
Billy.
His name?
That's Max's brother.
He was just in Gladiator too.
Yeah, Chrissy, wake up, dude.
Oh my God, what's
Joseph
his name?
Quinn?
It's gonna bother me. Joseph Quinn. Yeah,
oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, so I'm really excited for this. One, because it's gonna be an entry to the MCU involving characters we haven't seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe before. And I know there's been just a lot of general fatigue around seeing the same characters over and over. And I think also Marvel has made some missteps over the last few years. And it kind of feels like they got too many cooks in the kitchen and greenlit too many projects. And they just assumed that they could shit anything out that they wanted and that it would sell because it was Marvel. And it's very clear that they're clearing house and kind of getting more aligned on the direction of the MCU. So that makes me hopeful for Fantastic Four. And also the aesthetic of it is so interesting to me. They're definitely leaning into like the Jetsons type aesthetic, which is very cool.
Yeah. Okay. That could be cool.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to it.
You mentioned MCU, but Daredevil Born Again is coming out.
That's another one. I didn't want to like marvel out like all of my recommendations, but that is another one. I cannot wait for that. Also, there's Captain America 4 is coming out. Like next year is going to be a good year for Marvel if they can stick the landing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. One more title I just remembered, and I think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention it. There's a new Hunger Games prequel coming out in March, Sunrise on the Reaping, following Haymitch in his earlier years. Around the 50th annual Hunger Games, the second quarter quell. So that one already has a movie deal too. I've shared my thoughts on that situation on a previous episode of Millennial, I think. But yeah, I liked the first Hunger Games spinoff, a ballad of songbirds and snakes. Yeah, something like that. And the movie. So I look forward to seeing what Suzanne Collins has come up with for Haymitch. So again, that'll be out mid-March.
Great character. Good to see it reprised.
So lots to look forward to in 2025, and that is the hype around 2024 and 2025. Thank you, everybody, for listening and for hopping onto this new podcast this year. Please let us know what you are hyped for in the new year, and you can do that by reaching out on social media, in the Spotify and YouTube comments. You can also go to whatthehypepodcast.com for all our social media links, and there is a contact form there if you'd like to let us know what you're hyped for that way. And don't forget to follow us in your favorite podcasts and social media apps. Leave us a review. And like I said, comment. We will read all of it. So that is the hype. Happy New Year, everyone. Have a great holiday. And we'll be back in a couple weeks. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
See you next year.